Okay, so I think we'll get started. So thanks everybody for joining our webinar today with Jan Bloem from Vispero and Adi Kushnir from Elita, who are going to present the new ElBraille 40 5th generation. So my name is Rebecca Clark and I'm from Quantum here in Australia. So just a few webinar housekeeping notes. So I will mute most people during the presentation as we're recording it to avoid background noise, but we will have plenty of time for questions. If you do want to write any questions or queries, you can type those in the chat box. So that's Alt and H to get there, and you can edit it, and that just goes to everybody, or you can select who you want to send it to. If you need to temporarily unmute yourself, you can press the space bar, or it's Alt and M, I think, to unmute yourself. And we are recording it, and we'll make the webinar available on our YouTube channel and send the link around. So without further ado, I shall introduce Jan Bloem is the International Sales Manager from Vispero and is a JAWS and ElBraille user himself. And Adi Kushnir is Product Manager at Elita, who make the ElBraille. So yeah, we're really privileged to have them both here, Jan in the Netherlands and Adi in Israel. So it's a truly international meeting today. So I will hand over to you guys.
Okay, well, Rebecca, many thanks for your invitation, and yeah, we are happy to join your webinar for this topic, the ElBraille. Yes, as you introduced, or I will do a quick introduction of myself, and then I will give the microphone to Adi. Adi will do the ElBraille physical demonstration with a shared desktop, and I will do some personal experiences and some brief overview. And then later on, as you said, we have plenty room for questions. My name is indeed Jan Bloem. I'm from the internet, from the Netherlands. I'm working for Vispero, well, in the early days for Freedom Scientific since 2006. And as Rebecca said, I'm a JAWS user myself. I'm using Braille, Focus Blue, and all the other items. My vision is progressive, so in the early days I was indeed also using the low vision parts more, and nowadays I'm more depending on Braille and on the blindness stuff, but I can talk about everything, so that's no problem. The ElBraille, that's really a nice topic for today. A good thing is also to explain in the beginning that it is a shared product. Freedom Scientific Vispero is only responsible for the Focus Blue, what is made by Freedom Scientific, and the ElBraille is making also the screen reader head JAWS for Windows. So the ElBraille is mainly or only working with JAWS for Windows, and Elita is the responsible company and the manufacturer of the ElBraille docking station. Personally, I'm using also the ElBraille. I've started with the previous version together with the Focus Blue 14, but that was the 4th generation of the Focus Blue, and nowadays we have merged into the new world with the Focus Blue 5 with a new power beast, I would say, with the ElBraille. It's really a nice full capable computer where you can enjoy all the functionality of JAWS with a Focus Blue and a laptop computer. This was my brief introduction, and then I hand over now to Adi, so you can do a live demo of the ElBraille.
Okay, hello everyone, and thanks Jan, and thank you for the invitation to be here with all of you at Quantum, and I really appreciate you, Rebecca, of organizing this webinar. My name is Adi Kushnir. I'm from Elita Group, and I'm the product manager for ElBraille and some other products that we're working on. I'm a totally blind user myself. I've been in the assistive technology industry for a good number of years. I started as a localization person. I was localizing, and I still am localizing products, primarily Freedom Scientific products, to difficult languages such as Hebrew, and helping support Arabic as well. So I quite know how this field works, and as a user myself, of course. So what I'll do today is I'll give a brief introduction about the whole history of ElBraille and what are we up to and what are we planning to do, and then I'll demonstrate some basic things with the device by sharing the screen and also having you listen to the audio that comes from JAWS so you can understand that it's a true Windows device. So what is the story of ElBraille and why ElBraille, basically? What is the place of ElBraille in the world where there are many note-taker options available today? So we all love the note-taker form factor, right? This all-in-one kind of kit that contains a Braille display and sort of a computer inside, right? It started early with the Braille and Speak devices and later on followed up with other products. And today, we have a situation where most of these note takers are based on Android and have proprietary customized shells to go on top of them. When the ElBraille started, it was a number of years ago, the note takers were still mostly Windows CE based, which was a stripped down version of Windows that was running a completely modified software that was made by no matter which note taker company you go with in order to accommodate the needs of blind and low vision people, of Braille users. So at Elita, we thought about this for quite a while, and we said, well, we love this form factor. I love this form factor. The flexibility as a Braille user to get a device that does everything in one package is very nice and portable and comfortable. But why should we stick to these proprietary blindness-specific applications? Well, they are needed for some blindness-specific tasks we need to accomplish, like reading Braille files, right? And having efficient access with Braille and speech to information. But for the most part, the main view in our the main purpose of ElBraille is to merge between the blindness specific needs and the mainstream needs, because look, you pay very high prices for these devices, right? They cost lots of money, and you want to have them always up to date. You want to have them perform and be future-proof for the years to come. And this is something that is very difficult to do with these blindness-centric devices, because even though they are running on mainstream operating systems right now, it still takes a good while to rework the blindness-specific software every time when there is a new build of the OS that they run on, for example, Android in today's situation. So we have decided to go to a different way, and we are JAWS users ourselves, and we use the Focus Braille display line for quite a while. And we said, why not just develop a Braille dock that would fit the existing mainstream Focus Braille display and use JAWS, because JAWS has excellent Braille support that allows you to control the PC from the Focus Braille display keyboard. We'll talk more about that soon. And just make a device that will meet the expectations of our needs, of our unique needs, which include portability, all-in-one, ease of use as much as possible, and a very good and long battery life, because this is one of the main expectations of these note takers. And this is when this is how we came to ElBraille. So the first ElBraille 14 and 40 went on sale a number of years ago. They were very good for their time, but over time, the main feedback I've heard from people, and I wanted myself, of course, is, hey, we need more performance. The processors you're using are slow, and stuff like that. And we agree. And as we promised, to keep the ElBraille up to date. We're finally doing that. And people have struggled to understand because there were lots of delays during the development time to get a new decent platform going. And I want to explain for one second how we develop ElBraille, so you better understand what is going on from a user's perspective, and then we'll move on to a demonstration. So we can always do something like take an existing motherboard, right, that contains all the components, build a case for it, and tell everyone, hey, we have a note taker to sell, a portable Windows machine with a Braille display, right? And then you can put every powerful specification you like on it. But that, if we go this route, it makes it difficult for us as a manufacturer of a blindness-specific device to control every aspect of it and to provide you the flexibility that you are used to on note takers. For example, vibration feedback and beeping feedback for various note taker alerts and messages, battery life optimizations, etc. So this is why it took us a while to get it going right, but we believe that we're now in the right direction. We're now officially working with Intel, and the new ElBraille runs on the platform called Intel Compute Card, which is Intel's solution at the moment for what they call integrated computing, which is essentially building small PC devices that are very portable and provide performance at the same time. And we are certified by Intel to go forward as they change platforms in the future to move forward with them. So this should give us quite a guarantee of decent specifications and shorter development times in the future. So that's a great point, and it is another important collaboration between the mainstream and an assistive technology company. We're the first assistive technology vendor to work with Intel in such a way, which is very important. And we're also the first device that went public on sale in big numbers in full production with that platform. That was it, so you can understand the reasons and the way that the ElBraille development works. And now I would like to talk a bit and start demonstrating the device and get your Q&A time, because I know that this is what you're in for, right? Many of us love to ask questions and get answers. So I'll go over the physical description of the device. I know that we have people both from the US here and from other parts of the world, and there are some differences between the versions of ElBraille sold in the States and internationally due to some regulatory issues we had with the Intel parts, unfortunately, at this time. So when I'll cover the description of the device, I'll explain everything. So the device essentially is it looks similar to the Focus 5th generation display, a 40-cell version. If you know how that looks, it essentially completes its feel, its construction. So it's also so it essentially follows the same shape. On the front of the device, there is a huge slot for the focus to go to. I'm sorry that I cannot show a video at this moment, but I don't have a properly working camera setup, so sorry about that. So on the front there is a place where the focus goes on, and to both of the sides of the focus display there are metal pieces which hold it in place properly. And on the left side you have what we call the focus docking hinge, which is basically a USB-C connector mounted on a piece of plastic, which once you put your focus display in, you push it to the right, like inside of the focus USB port, and it docks the focus securely into the device. In order to undock it, you pull this handle with your left hand towards the left, like outside of the device, and then it moves and you can pick up the focus and move with it. In terms of ports, on the left side of the device, going from front to back, we have this focus docking mechanism handle, and also we have an access to the focus power button, which will allow you to get to the focus menu or power it on without the ElBraille if you want to do that. And then this is the first difference between the US and international versions. On the international versions, you'll see an HDMI port. On the US-based versions, unfortunately, you don't have an HDMI port due to some regulatory compliance issues we had last moment. So on the US versions, the HDMI is supported via an adapter which can be purchased with the device, which works over Miracast, which is a wireless display protocol. This adapter connects to any monitor, so you're not limited to specific monitors. You can still fully enjoy HDMI, but you need this spare adapter. We did not want to stop the ElBraille shipment because of that, because we had enough delays, and we hope that in the future we'll be able to address this as well. That's it on the left side. On the back, there is really nothing, and on the right side, going from back to front, you have a USB Type-C port, which is used for two things. One, for charging the device. For three things. One, to charge the device. Number two is to connect a data device to it. You can plug flash drives or whatever you want to this port. It's USB 3 port. And number three, to use the Focus Braille display as an external Braille display with your PC over USB-C without disconnecting it from the ElBraille itself. So if you want to use the Focus with your ElBraille, with your laptop or desktop PC, you don't have to disconnect it from the ElBraille at all. After that, USB-C port, you have two standard USB-A ports, which are also USB 3 ports. Then you have a standard SD card slot, which supports SD cards up to 2 terabytes, right? So pretty, it's a very big storage expansion. And then below the SD card slot, underneath it, you have a micro SIM card slot because this device supports LTE data. For the US, it is AT&T and AT&T compatible systems, and for the rest of the world, it should work with any GSM carrier. After that, you have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, which is of course used to connect external headphones or a microphone. It is a combo jack. These are essentially the ports of the ElBraille. When you use it docked with the Focus, you have the Focus keyboard on the front with all the controls of the Focus 40. And on the top, there are of the ElBraille on the top panel after the Focus, if you go a bit up, you have from left to right, you have the left speaker. By the way, the ElBraille 40 has very good speakers, the new generation. We've very improved the sound. And then you have some special ElBraille keys. From left to right, these are marked as E1, then a volume rocker, volume down, volume up, then E2, E3, E4, E5, a long key, which is E6 and E7. We'll talk about these keys later on. And in the middle between them, you have a fan because decent Intel processors require cooling. We cannot avoid that at this point. Also on the top, there is a recessed power button above the E1 key, which is used to power the device on and off. So that is, and then you have the right speaker after the last key on the right of the E7 key. So this is a short physical description of the device. I will soon share the screen so you can just hear JAWS and Windows in action a bit. But first, I would like Jan to talk about his experience of the learning curve of the Braille commands, because we all know that the note takers have these Braille commands we all have to master in order to successfully use them. And I'm interested to hear Jan's take on it. How easy was it for you to get used to operate JAWS and Windows from a Braille point of view?
Well, thank you very much, Adi. It is really true that you need to be aware of that the ElBraille has only a Braille keyboard input, and that is a big advantage because when you're mastering your Braille keypad, then it is really fast. The ergonomic design of the Focus Blue Braille keypad, that's really nice with the spacebar underneath the Braille cells. It's really superb to type also for long meetings or when you're heavily working. but yeah, it is a learning curve. It is a combination of keys with the spacebar and dot 8. All modifiers of the physical keyboard, like control, like insert, shift, and the function keys, they have also been addressed at the Braille keypad with a dot equivalent. For example, if you are when you want to press a key, for example, the insert insert T, for example, I had to read the window title. You have to press down the spacebar with dot 8 to enable the modifier keys, and then the equivalent Braille keys have dots have also a specific modifier. For example, the JAWS key is dot 5. So then you press the spacebar, dot 8 and dot 5 all together as a chord command, and then you release it, and then you press the letter T for insert T. So I can demonstrate that here on my system. So you hold down the spacebar with dot 8, and you type also, you hold down dot 5, and then you release, and then you press the T, and then you hear the title desktop 1 on my ElBraille unit. And then you have all the other equivalent keystrokes, like the function keys and the modifiers like control and alt. They are there to on the other on the control keypad, on the Braille keypad. It is written down in the JAWS help file, because it is not specific ElBraille functionality, but it is a JAWS functionality. So it is also done when you are not using an ElBraille, but only also a laptop or a computer connected via the Focus Blue to your system. So then you can also practice already this key set. But to avoid also a learning curve, it's also practical to know what Adi already discussed, is that you have a full USB port. And Adi did not mention it, I think, but you have also the Bluetooth and the wireless connectivity. So
Yes,
you can
thank you for
also...
that.
Yeah, well, it is also very useful to connect a Bluetooth keyboard, a full set keyboard for in emergency cases, or if you speed up the learning curve, then you can type on your QWERTY keyboard. But it takes, I think, 1 or 2 days intensively studying the specific keystrokes, but then after doing it for a couple of days, it is your second nature, and then you will feel no differences in operating your computer from your Focus Blue keypad instead of your Focus Blue Braille display. So it is a specific learning curve, but it is doable, and it is, when you master it, it is specifically very fast in responding.
Thank you, Jan, for that. I will soon start the demonstration, but before that, I'll mention some things that, like Jan said, I forgot in terms of the internal technical specifications of the device. So, worldwide, internationally, we offer a number of configurations of the ElBraille in terms of processing power and available memory. The two common ones are Intel Core M3 processor, it's called. It's a dual core chip with 4 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes SSD drive, and an i5 configuration, which is also a dual core for now, with 8 gigabytes of RAM and the same 128 gigabytes of SSD built-in storage. In the US, it is only the i5 variant that is being sold. In terms of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, we have Bluetooth 4.2 and Wi-Fi 802.11 AC, so it's pretty much the latest standards. There's Wi-Fi 6 today, but Intel still does not support it, but the Wi-Fi is pretty fast here as well. So most routers don't get the speeds we support on the device. And we of course have the LTE data option. So these are kind of the internal specifications I have missed. I will now share my screen of the ElBraille. I'm actually talking to you right now from Zoom, on Zoom from the ElBraille. So I will now share the screen. All right. I shared the screen and I hope we can hear.
Mute. Currently unmuted. Alt plus A button.
Can we hear the JAWS audio now? Is it fine? Jan or someone, can you confirm?
No, correct.
Okay. So let me go into the Windows desktop here. I'm now in the Zoom window on the ElBraille, and I'm going to do this from the Focus Braille keyboard. So like Jan said, there are commands that work with modifier keys. And to tell JAWS that you want to press a modifier key like Alt Windows, you use spacebar and .8. And the Windows key is assigned to .4. So we'll now press dots 4-8 chord, which is dots 4-8 and spacebar, and then the letter M, dots 1, 3, 4.
Desktop folder view list view Adi Kushnir 1 of 18.
All right, we're on the desktop. Come on, it's the standard Windows 10 desktop. You're not in a proprietary note taker specific shell. All right, so one thing that is very important to understand when you think about
folder view list
ElBraille versus other devices is ElBraille is a standard Windows PC. I always get questions like, can you install this and can you install that on ElBraille? The answer is whatever works on your standard PC with JAWS will work on the ElBraille, because the ElBraille is a standard Windows 10 machine with JAWS, just in a different box. So let us show you that it's true Windows. Let's navigate the desktop. I'm going to use common note taker commands. The down arrow key is .4 chord.
Folder view list view this PC 3 of 18. Recycle bin 4 of 18. Google Chrome 5 of 18.
All right, I'm moving on the desktop and you hear mainstream apps, this PC, recycle bin, Chrome. Let us press the tab key, which is dots 4-5 chord.
Start button. Taskbar Google Chrome button.
Okay, so you see that we're moving through the Windows taskbar.
System tray zoom button.
So it is a real fully featured Windows 10 device. Let's show you the speed of some stuff so you can understand. I know that there are users here who were using the previous generation ElBrailles. So let's show you some opening some mainstream Windows stuff. I'm going to open up the start menu. And to do that, we use the right shift key on the focus display. The focus displays have two shift keys below the space bar. And we're going to press the right shift key and .4.
Search.
We're in the search box and we're going to type Word.
Word app, press right to switch preview. Word app, press right.
All right, this is Microsoft Word. Let's press enter.
Opening Word. Document 1 Word, edit.
All right, you saw how fast Word opened. We're now in the Word document. We can type. I'm going to enable Word character echo in JAWS because it's disabled on my machine. To do it, we need to press Insert 2. So how do we press Insert 2? Again, spacebar .8 because we need modifiers, and we add .5 to it because it's the JAWS key. So we press spacebar dots 5 and 8, and then the number 2.
Both characters and words.
All right. So we accomplished the Insert 2 command to change the JAWS keyboard echo, and now we can start typing.
TAISISISA TESETOFN TYEINGION TAEEB BLBRAILLELDVIC Devic for CI ICE enter.
You see that it pretty much keeps up.
This is a test of typing on the ElBraille device. Blank.
I'm typing very fast and it recognizes me.
IAMM NO now TRYING try TO2 TYPEIIA WORD word DOCUMENT document period.
All right, for now I'm using computer Braille because in Israel we don't use contracted Braille, so I need to learn contracted Braille at some point, but for now I do it in computer Braille. But of course we support contracted Braille pretty much everywhere except some scenarios in which we need to switch to computer Braille, like email address and password fields. for which you'll get an alert from JAWS whenever you're required to do that. But you can use contracted Braille input in pretty much all Windows applications. Okay, so this was the standard Microsoft Word test. Let's close Word. I'm going to press Alt F4. To do this, we need to emulate the function keys on the top row of the keyboard. So how do we do this? Well, we already know that spacebar and
Alert and default show as
spacebar and .8 emulate a modifier, a certain modifier, and the F keys are the .1 key plus the letters A through L, which is F1 through F12, right? 1 to 12 according to the ABC alphabet respectively. And we also need to do an Alt key, which is .6. So I know that it sounds complicated, but in reality, once you learn it, you'll get very fast with it. I'm going to press spacebar, dots, 1, 6, 8, chord, and then the letter D for F4.
Alt F4, file name edit. This is a test of typing on the ElBraille device.
And we're now in the file name of, field of Microsoft Word. Let's tab to the Don't Save button. Dots,
Save as
4-5 chord.
Menu, choose a leaving menus, more save options, save button, Alt, don't save button, alert, share
And press Enter. And
meeting controls, mute,
and that's it. I'm back to the Zoom window. I'll go back to the desktop now.
desktop, folder.
All right, so what you saw in front of you was basically Office 365. It is the standard full suite of Office 365 that is installed on the ElBraille. So another benefit of ElBraille, because it's Windows, well, we can use multiple browsers. Right now I'm located on
Google Chrome,
Google Chrome. Let's press Enter.
new tab, Google Chrome, address and
I've opened Chrome and I can go to the Freedom Scientific website. I can type the address. You do not hear the echo because it's disabled by default.
free.
And we
Freedom Scientific and high quality video magnifiers, Braille displays, screen magnification software, and #1 screen reader, JAWS, Google Chrome, Freedom Scientific, Freedom.
All right, the same experience that you'll love on your PC. We can press H to move by headings.
COVID-19 update heading level 1 link.
And again.
Freedom Scientific and our international distributors alert. Olga empowering independence heading level 2.
We can do a links list by emulating Insert F7 by pressing spacebar dots 158 chord and then the letter G. Or what else we can do, which is easier, is a shortcut we have, which is the right shift on the focus.
JAWS graphic, there is an open escape
on the focus display.
Links list dial, there is an open
and the #7 in computer Braille, which is dots 2, 3, 5, 6. And once I press that, I get a
escape.
Press that again. I'm going to return to the window.
Chrome window classes dialog. New escape. Mute.
I went to a JAWS
Freedom
setting that I don't want to be in. Right shift and the #7 in computer Braille.
Links list dialog. Links list view. COVID-19 update 12 of 51.
All right. It is the standard JAWS links list dialog you expect to have.
Escape.
I pressed escape, which is Z chord, which is 1, 3, 5, 6 chord, like on most note takers, the escape command, right? So this is Chrome. But what about if we want to use Microsoft Edge, for example? Well, no problem. Close Chrome.
Alt F4. Mute.
Move to the desktop.
Desktop.
Press M.
Microsoft Edge.
And press Enter.
New tab, Microsoft Edge. App bar tool.
And here you get it, right? A different browser on the same device. So when was the last time you had the option to choose which browser to use on a note taker? Well, here you go. So this is about the Windows specific function, the Windows mainstream functionality. Now I want to talk about some specific things we do at Elita. We are trying not to develop apps that replace common Windows functionality because, for example, I don't want us to replace Microsoft Office, right? The whole purpose of ElBraille is that you would be using the standard versions of Microsoft Office in order to make you productive in the mainstream field. But we have done quite a few apps to answer some common tasks we need to take, such as take notes. I have the E4 key on the ElBraille, and I'm going to press it now, a short press.
Notes.
and it opened up an app called ElNotes. ElNotes is a small application we have created which allows you to create both text and voice notes. The interface of it is very simple. It's a standard Windows app.
Find what edit.
You have a search box.
Category list box. All categories 0, 1 of
You
2.
have a list with notes categories that you can make. I'm pressing the tab key dots 4-5 chord to move between the interface elements.
Find what edit.
And for now, that's it, because you don't have any notes.
Category.
Now let's take a note quickly. So I pressed one button to open the ElNotes app, and in order to make a new text note, I pressed the same E4 key again.
New text note. Note name edit.
All right, very quickly, like we need on note takers. New text note popped up. We're going to type a name. We're going to type test note.
T.
Oops,
O N T I
done
E
a mistake
blank.
there.
Test.
Corrected. Now let's press tab.
Note. No text edit.
No text. Now let's type in.
Thorn. Us.
Let's
blank.
do
This is a set of T A space
a
space a
text
text
note.
note period.
And now let's press the tab key.
Category combo box uncategorized 0.
If you have created a category from the app, you can save it to one of the
Save button.
categories, and then you have a save button.
Space category list view all categories 1 of 1. Notes sort by last modified date. Newest first list view test note 5/26/2020 10:08:20 a.m. text 1 of 1.
All right, you see, you instantly saved a text voice note, a text note. Sorry. We also have a JAWS feature which allows you to automatically read the content of the voice note without going inside of that note, which can be enabled from the JAWS Quick Settings feature. Another feature of this application is to record voice notes. I don't know if it can do it now because we're talking, but maybe. Let's try. Press E4 and hold it. You heard a sound. And I don't know if it's recording or not. I hope the Zoom meeting is not stopped. Can you hear me still?
Yes, that's fine,
Yeah.
Adi.
Good.
It does say recording.
Yeah, okay. So right now I'm recording a voice note, a short voice clip. Once I release the button,
Notes sort by last modified date. Newest first list view untitled voice note 5.
it automatically saved an untitled voice note. And if I press enter,
Pause
I
button.
heard a sound. And I don't know if it's recording or not. I hope the Zoom meeting is not stopped. Can you hear me still? Right.
Escape
So
notes.
I closed it, but it plays the voice note. So if you need to take a quick phone number or a quick voice memo, this is the way to do it. The software also supports recording long voice memos without holding the record button, the E4 key, by going and creating a standard voice note through the menu. The software can also export the notes to TXT and MP3 files, respectively, and you can perform text search inside of the notes, etc. So this is one area where we have developed something customized.
Alert.
I've closed ElNotes now.
Des-
Another thing that we've done is a sort of a menu which is easy to start from, like on other note takers. So if I press the E1 key, which is the first key if you're going from left to right on the top ElBraille keys panel,
Context menu M. My files F.
you get to a context menu which essentially contains shortcuts to frequently used Windows apps. So My Files opens File Explorer. If we move down,
Text editor E.
this opens Notepad.
Notes N.
This opens ElNotes.
Phone P.
Phone is something new which is not released yet. You will not see it on your ElBrailles yet. I'm going to talk about that later.
Audio player A.
Opens Windows Media Player.
Office submenu O.
This submenu is only present if you have Office installed.
Word
I
W.
opened it now. It has Word,
Excel E.
Excel,
PowerPoint P. Outlook O.
right? So this is essentially a menu of frequently used
Escape.
shortcuts that are going to be very easy to get to. Like you have these,
Alert. Emma Johnson has left the
like
meeting.
you have these main menus on standard note takers. I will mention 3 additional quick things, and then we'll open it up for Q&A, because these are also important for specific blindness functionality. How many times you've had a situation on Windows where JAWS would freeze and you would not know what to do, right? You get stuck. Well, on the ElBraille, it's going to be a problem, because JAWS is the one that communicates between the focus Braille display and you as a user. So you don't have speech or Braille output if JAWS is dead, right? So we need to get you recovered from that situation because it's a Windows device and anything can happen. I'm going to close JAWS now on purpose.
Unloading JAWS.
I've done it. JAWS is not loaded yet. If I press is not loaded now. If I press keys on the focus display, nothing. All right, no reaction. How can we get recovered out of this? Well, we have developed an emergency software, which is a self-voicing and a self-brailing, what we call it, menu, which communicates directly with your focus display. So to open that up, I'm going to press and hold the E1 key, which is again the first key when going from left to right. You heard a sound, and
JAWS restart.
there we go. You heard using a recorded voice JAWS restart. So this menu allows you to perform 3 options, which can be navigated by the nav rockers on your focus displays. On each side of the display, you have a nav rocker and a nav mode button above it, a round button, which usually performs some document navigation tasks. But if I press the nav rocker down,
Shut down.
this allows you to shut down your ElBraille safely.
System reboot.
This reboots your system.
JAWS restart.
And this one restarts JAWS. So if I press the nav mode button, which is the round button above the nav rocker,
JAWS for Windows. Meeting controls.
all right, you got JAWS back up and running. And if JAWS crashes, this will reload it for you instantly.
Perhaps you can
which is
also
great.
mention, Adi, that you have also Braille support in the same
Yes,
time. Now you only heard Braille speech.
I said that the menu is also self-brailing, what we call it. But essentially what happens is when you move through the menu items, we communicate the text directly to the focus display. So you always see the menu items that you heard in recorded format, you see them in Braille. Another thing that we've added recently is an automatically restart JAWS feature for people who want JAWS to always be available. So what that means, let me press the E1 key again.
Menu, Internet browser.
I'm in the ElBraille menu that I showed you before, and it has an ElBraille Utilities submenu, which is also worth mentioning. Let's go there.
U, keyboard editor, K.
We've got Keyboard Editor, which is a software we've developed that allows you to customize the assignments of these top panel keys, right? I'm not going to go into that right now, but it's there.
Settings, S.
ElBraille settings. This is very important. And
Menu bar, leaving menus, mute, currently unmuted, Alt plus A
I
button.
press Enter to open the ElBraille settings window.
Meetings tab, check selected.
And
Mute,
I think it opened out of focus for some reason.
Zoom, ElBraille settings.
All right, there we go.
ElBraille view, sounds enabled, closed.
So this utility allows...
Adi, can I,
yes.
how did you go back on the ElBraille back to your, because that was a question also, Alt-Tab.
Yes.
Did you use Alt-Tab?
Yes, yes, I just wanted to mention that. I performed an Alt-Tab command, which is dots 6-8 chord, and then tab, which is dots 4-5 chord. You also have the ability in JAWS to get the window list of all your running apps by pressing the right shift key on the focus display and the number 0 in computer Braille. And that way you get a nice list of all the running windows that you can press enter and move to the desired window once you find it. So this ElBraille settings window is something very important. It allows you to customize the feedback of all the vibration and the sound events that ElBraille gives you. And the interface is very similar to the JAWS Settings Center utility. So if I press Insert Up arrow, which is dots 5-8 chord, which is the JAWS key, and then dot spacebar and dot 1.
Sounds enabled, closed, selected.
You see sounds enabled. To toggle the state of this feature, I can press spacebar.
Space, sounds disabled, closed.
All right, now the whole sound branch is disabled. That means that ElBraille will not give you any sound feedback to whatever events you wanted to give you feedback to. Let's press tab.
Edit read only, turns all sound feedback on or off. If turned off, all adjustments of this branch have no effect until this setting is turned on.
All right, so you get a nice help explanation of each item, similar to the JAWS Settings Center and Quick Settings features. Let's shift tab.
Tree view, sounds disabled,
I'm
closed.
going to enable sounds because I want ElBraille to give me beeping feedback on stuff I do.
Space, sounds enabled.
Let's expand this tree view with the right arrow key.
Sounds
And
enabled.
arrow down, so just just so you can get a feel of what we have here.
Beep on USB commands from applications enable alert from beep when the battery starts charging disabled. Beep when battery is full enabled. Beep on the charging error enabled. Beep while BIOS is booting enabled. Beep while Windows is booting enabled. Beep when an ElBraille key is pressed enabled.
All right, so you get very high level of customization. Each of these can be toggled with a space bar, and when you press tab, you get a help text for each item. But I want to focus on the automatically start JAWS feature, so I go to the bottom of this settings window by pressing the end key, which is spacebar and dots 4-6.
End. Miscellaneous closed.
You have a miscellaneous group. I'll expand it with the right arrow.
Miscellaneous open.
Let's go down.
Automatically restart JAWS disabled.
All right, disabled. I'm going to press spacebar to enable it.
Space. Automatically restart JAWS enabled.
This is a feature we've added in the recent software update to ElBraille. Let's press tab.
Edit read only. This option controls whether or not JAWS should be restarted automatically when it is closed by the user or in case of a crash. Enabling this option helps to make sure that users are not left without speech or Braille support. This option is off by default.
All right, so now let's press tab to the OK button to save this setting.
OK button. Space. Meetings tab check.
So what should happen now is, basically now we run a small monitoring software which always monitors the state of your recently active JAWS version. Of course, it is JAWS 2020 on my system right now, right? So if I go to the desktop.
Desktop, folder view, list view, Microsoft Edge, 14 of 18.
And I'm going to close JAWS now. I hope that I gave the monitor enough time to catch JAWS up. Let's close JAWS.
JAWS context menu, exit
I'm going to
X.
press enter.
Leaving menus, mute, currently on.
Now we have no JAWS. I'm not touching the device at all. I'm not doing anything. Just sitting and waiting.
JAWS for Windows, meeting controls, mute, currently unmuted, Alt+A button.
All right, so it brought JAWS back up. So this way, there is absolutely no way you will lose JAWS support, because if it will detect that JAWS crashed, it will re-enable it without you touching anything at all. Of course, this is off by default in order to allow users who want to close JAWS on purpose to have it, but some users wanted an automatic recovery way, so here you go. So that's about it. Shortly before the opening to Q&A, I would like to mention some other things we're going to be doing for the future to complete and fulfill some blindness-specific functionality that does not exist in Windows by default. We're now working on an application that will read BRF files and write BRF files and also emboss to a Braille embosser. So we're going to have that done very soon. There will also be a scientific calculator, which we're working on at this time, that will give Windows users a very good Braille calculator to rely on, which is also important for the education field. And we're working on a player/book reader application, which will allow you to connect to all of these libraries, such as NLS and in the States, and the Vision Australia library in Australia and other places of the world. So you'll be able to read DAISY, MP3, whatever, and download everything online. Yes, there is FS Reader for now, but we want to do something more advanced, like some other note takers have on their platforms. And what you saw in the ElBraille menu, which is called Phone, is something we wanted to do a while ago, but the ElBraille hardware development took us a lot of time, and we are finally free for it. It's an application.
Alert from Georgina Joyce to everyone.
It is an application which is going to be released soon called ElPhone, which will allow ElBraille users to send and receive SMS messages, which is very important for people who are deafblind, or just people who want to use the ElBraille in general to communicate as an SMS device, because it has a cellular connection, and also to send and receive voice calls. The next ElBraille software update, which is scheduled for July, I hope earlier, but if not, it'll be July, will have this feature finally on board with it. So that's it from my side. I know I was talking a lot, but it is now time to get your questions answered. So go ahead.
Oh, thanks, Adi. We've had a few in the chat line, and preferably if people can
Video
put their
settings button drop
questions in
alert.
the chat line. We've got one that's asked, what's the graphics card that ElBraille has?
Right, so because ElBraille is not a graphics targeted device, we're using the standard Intel integrated graphics, whatever they call it, Intel HD built-in graphics. We're not planning at any stage to put a discrete graphics card inside of these devices. Keep in mind that in order, and this is something I want to explain in terms of the hardware point. Many of you try comparing, and by good reasons, the ElBraille to standard Windows laptops in terms of powerful specifications, etc., etc. We need on the ElBraille to find sort of a compromise between very good and very usable specifications and power consumption and heat in such a small package, because we as blind people, we want everything, right? We want small, light, fast, and good battery life. Well, physically, that's not always possible. So the priorities for these note taker types of devices are great battery life, very good performance for the tasks that they are here to accomplish, and portability, right? So in order to do that, we're not going to put crazy extra components like very powerful graphics cards, because we just don't need them. Even in the current package we have, it is very hard to maintain the processor cool to the touch. So in order to not slow it down, because we need very big batteries to accommodate. The battery life in ElBraille is up to 15 hours, depending on usage on the new generation. So we need to put very big batteries to get this out of a Windows device. And because the Intel processors are very power hungry and Windows is power hungry. Unlike the other note takers, which are Android based, they run very little small motherboards and consume less power. So that's one factor. So we will always improve the specifications. We're going to have new hardware revisions of ElBraille each year to 2 years. Now, this is our agreement with Intel. But so the specifications will always get improved in terms of processing power, storage capacity, etc., but not in terms of things like graphics cards.
Oh, fair enough. That's great. And someone to say, we've also had a question about the CPU speed on the ElBraille.
So right now we're using Intel's 15-watt parts. Actually, no, the ElBraille right now uses Intel's even lower part 5-watt parts. So we have an i5 dual core that can go up to 3.3 gigahertz. Its base frequency is 1.2, I think. I forget the exact frequency, but it can go up to 3.3. This will improve though in the future, because like any other laptop right now, ElBraille is going to get a makeover every year to 2 years because Intel is changing the platforms we use. So we expect to have quad-core processors at some point, etc., etc. But I don't know. I don't want to give any dates now on that. We believe that what we have now is powerful enough for the tasks that the device needs to accomplish, but we're always looking to expand it. So.
Great. So are there any other questions? If people do want to speak, you can either press the space bar or alternate and unmute yourself. That's fine.
Yes, hello, it's Peter Cracknell here. Adi, very interested.
Hi, Peter.
Hi, very interested to hear that you want to develop a scientific calculator, and just interested whether you're going to accommodate UEB as well as Nemeth mathematics.
Mathematics is a good question, and it's going to be a part of it is going to come from our side, and a part of it is going to come from JAWS. I'm now working with the JAWS development team on these functionalities. We have some ideas to move it forward. We will, once the calculator will be released, I don't know if from the first version we'll have everything, but we sure will accommodate both UEB and Nemeth, because this is one of the requirements of the market. So eventually we'll get there.
Well, the UEB would be great, because that's something we have. Be a changes. So we've had someone saying they love their ElBraille, so that's great feedback.
Right.
I was going to ask,
I'm-
is one for the 5th generation 14 cell under development, or are you concentrating on the 40 at the minute?
So I would say it as follows. We are thinking and working on a smaller version of
Mhm.
ElBraille that will be powerful enough. For now, though, the 40 cell is the only one we're focused on. So we are working on something smaller, but I don't want to give dates, and
Oh,
because
no,
we need to work with Intel on changing some stuff, which can take time. So for now, we have a 40 cell version. Another thing, though, I would like to mention for people who have bought the Focus 4th generation, ElBraille 14 and 40, not this year, but sometime during next year, we will have an upgrade path for the same Focus 4 ElBrails to new specifications. So we will have, like we have promised, and because one of the advantages of ElBraille is its upgradability, because it uses mainstream parts. So like we've promised, we will have a newer respin of the Focus 4th generation ElBrails to newer Intel platforms. We'll talk about that later, but we're planning also to get that done.
Oh, good. I've got a question. How long does it take for the unit to start up, and how heavy is it? Oh, and how much does it cost? I don't know whether, Ethan, if you're in Australia, but I do have the cost. We can get that to you.
Right, so in terms of weight, it is like a laptop, a decent Windows laptop with a Braille display. It's about 1.7 kilograms with the Braille display. We tried to make it as lighter as we could, and the batteries, unfortunately, have lots of weight in them. But this is its weight. In terms of how long does it take the unit to start? Well, I would say somewhere from 35 to 40, 50 seconds. It depends on what the workload you have on it, etc., etc. But you can, it's essentially like any modern i5 laptop with an SSD disk. So it should be very fast. Another thing, though, on the new devices, you have the sleep feature of Windows. So if you want to instantly boot it and get notes done, you can put the device to sleep instead of shutting it down completely. Yes, your battery will drain a little bit, but it's an ability to start up very fast and get the job done.
It works very good.
Well, that's good. Yep. And I asked what languages does it support, but I guess that just depends on your JAWS, really.
Good. Very good point. And as a localization person, languages are very important to me. So right now, JAWS is localized to about how many on 20?
Yeah, 28,
25, 28, 29,
Yeah.
close to 30, I think, languages right now. And of course, Windows and is localized to many, many languages. So whatever JAWS supports works. Even difficult languages like right to left languages, Arabic, Hebrew, even Chinese, Japanese, right? All of these can work. Our own utilities, though, are only localized to the languages we sell ElBraille at. So we can support input, output, speech, Braille, and JAWS and Windows localization in whatever language you want. But if a dealer did not localize the ElBraille software for us, those items will appear in English. But we're getting this done if dealers are interested to sell the device. So I expect that to expand.
Thank you. I've got a couple of other questions. Would you consider it functional for a high school student to carry to room numerous times a day? It's no different to a laptop, really, I don't think.
Yes, this is one of the purposes it was designed for, actually, for education. Of course, we are intending students to use it both in schools and college and universities and whatever. This is one of the device's purposes. And the advantage, again, of this device compared to others for education is, hey, you're in Windows. You're not in an operating system which is customized by a proprietary shell. So whenever you send a document to somebody and they open it in their office, it looks very well formatted and very good to, the ElBraille is very good to submitting school papers and doing exams and stuff like that, because you can create professional looking documents on it because it's your standard Microsoft Word. Or I don't know, you want to use Google Docs through your web browser with JAWS, go ahead. So you're free to use whatever you want, and people who will be working with you, if somebody needs to assist you, you just plug in a monitor and you're good to go. People know how to operate this device. It's the PC that they know.
Even
Yeah.
a mouse can be connected.
Yeah.
That's also
Yeah.
very done. And also system administrators will love it because they're always scared, you know, when you bring in such an assistive device in your company or in the government, for example. But yeah, when you connect a keyboard, a mouse, and a screen to it, it is a normal Windows machine. So you can apply all security policies, etc., to it. So
Yeah,
with
very good
etc.
point. Actually, it's a very good device for government organizations because pretty much all of their security restrictions can be applied there. It's a standard Windows machine.
Even Citrix, etc., remote
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is a normal device, but it is made for us as Braille users that you can, it's portable. You can use it everywhere, and with your favorite screen reader, and then also with your all the browsers you love, Office 365, Google Docs, etc.
Also, I forgot to mention, in case somebody will ask, but just in case, the ElBraille also does have an internal microphone and a beeper and a vibration engine. So just if someone wonders, that part is also covered. Sorry for not mentioning it at the beginning.
Oh no, that's fine. And yes, somebody else has asked, and I'm happy to answer this, but a question about the Focus. I don't currently have a Braille display. Can you buy it as all components as a bundle? I mean, we can supply quotes for the whole lot, and you can just use your JAWS key on it. So yeah, we can sell it just separately or with the device. So.
Yeah, no, that is the beauty of it, and also, you know, also when the unit has to go in for service or repair, whatever, you can swap in another Focus into your ElBraille or whatever, or you can swap in another ElBraille unit from your dealer, etc. You know, so it is not that you lose your complete device when you need to bring it in for repair when your Braille cell is faulty or whatever.
The same thing, the opposite when the ElBraille. The same thing is the opposite. If the ElBraille gets damaged for some reason, you can keep your Focus display and use it with your machine. So the modularity here is a big plus. Also, the Intel Compute card itself, even if somebody needs to replace your ElBraille physically, the Compute card can be moved from your old ElBraille to the new ElBraille, and then you still have your new data in place in the same way you left it. So very flexible.
Yeah. Somebody's asked if the batteries user replaceable. I don't think so.
No. The answer is no. In order to keep it, let's face it this way, if we'll have to make it user replaceable, it'll be even thicker and even heavier. I don't think anyone would want it. And here in Australia, at least we here at Quantum, we do have a service department, so can do that.
Yeah, usually it's not going to go back anywhere. So
yes, and we recommend, and we recommend that you always get service from a local dealer. Please do not try to get service for ElBraille or for any other assistive device from a standard, service center, because you really need the original parts. So please follow that.
Yeah, and somebody's asked what the wait time's like in Australia. I think we're waiting on a few more i5s, but we are getting in, we're getting constant stock in. So we've got some of the M3s, so not very far away. I need to check that, but can get back to you on that. Somebody's asked about a webcam for Zoom, as it's got USB ports. You can just plug in a camera.
You can plug any webcam to it and work with it. The ElBraille itself does not have a built-in camera. Only microphones, but you can plug any webcam that works.
And you can plug in things like your Pearl as well, which is
that's also very
This is actually a very good example.
You can then emulate it also with .8 and then spacebar and then you press space extra and then you hear the bling for the layered keystroke command, and then you press O and then the A. And then,
Yes, you can use the JAWS OCR feature. This actually can be a very good portable reading machine. You take the Pro camera. We were demonstrating it not this year. I did not go this year due to the COVID-19 situation, but last year I was at CSUN and we were demonstrating this on the pre-production device with the Pro camera and the JAWS OCR. So a great portable reading machine. Also.
Oh, great. So yeah, I've just put up we have had Scott has also said there is an ElBraille discussion list now as well. So thanks, Scott.
Yes,
that's
and
great.
this is something that is very important to mention. I think Scott put up a time, and I want to really thank you for it because I wanted to do it. I did not get to it, and he's done it before me, and that is beautiful. There is an ElBraille discussion list that you can join. And maybe Scott, if you want, just provide the address to subscribe in the chat so that people can see it.
He's done that, so that's great. So it's ElBraille plus subscribe at groups.io, but I can happy to email that around to people.
Yeah,
Beck, if I can just butt in, it's Danny from Quantum. Just to let people know, also those people in Australia, Quantum does have a presence on that list. We do monitor it.
Yeah, so if anyone's got.
And the list is also being monitored by me from Elita and also two of my colleagues, Svetlana and Sergey, which are processing tech support and orders stuff. And also Ron Miller and others from Freedom Scientific, Vispero are monitoring that list.
Plenty of people can answer your questions.
Peter's
if we mention the list, I want to emphasize though, this list is very good to get questions answered from users, but and also we answer from time to time when we have time, and I even help Scott moderating the list, approving messages and so on. However, if you have a technical support query, and this is very important, if you have a technical support query to which you expect a direct answer from us at Elita, from Vispero, or from your dealer, Quantum in this case, right? Please do not use this list as a expectation to get proper technical support, because what happens is sometimes people send messages, then they contact us at Elita or Vispero, hey, I sent a question to the list, why don't you help me? So we are trying to monitor this user list as actively as possible, and it's a very good place to get something very quick from users, right? You don't need to always contact your assistive technology vendor to get tech support, because sometimes the user can respond to you quicker. But this is not our primary role, right, in the companies to have a tech support channel going on this list. So if we, as the vendors, don't answer you very fast on that list, please respect that and expect that if you need direct answers from us, please contact us directly in our respective email addresses. Of course, we will try to actively monitor the list as good as we can.
Yeah, thanks, Adi. And I'd say, if anyone in Australia's got queries, by all means, contact our helpline too. So, Peter's asked, just as a last question, could the microphone be used to record a lecture or meeting, or is it a close range only?
I've recorded some lectures in it, but the microphone quality is comparable to many other laptops. So don't expect something very high-end studio quality. If you are very concerned, get an external microphone, plug it in and go. This is my recommendation.
Okay. Well, that's great. Thanks, Adi. Thanks, Jan. It's been great to have you on and get so much information. I've learned a lot, I know. So I've put up our contact details on the screen for anyone in Australia that would like a demonstration or wants further information. Our phone number is 1300 883 853 or info@quantumrlv.com.au, or you can check out our website. And I might leave it there. So thanks everybody for joining. And we've got some other webinars coming up on the 9th of June. We've got Eric Damery from Vispero, Mr. Jaws himself coming as well. So that's going to be good. So, so if anyone hasn't seen that, then by all means jump on. Again, that's sort of aimed at Australian viewers, but anybody's welcome to join. So Okay, thanks. I'll say
Okay.
goodbye to everybody, and yeah, we'll get the recording out. So
Okay.
thanks. Cheers.
Thank you for the
Bye-bye.
invitation.
Bye.
It was nice to have you here.